All right, I want to go into a discussion of some of the more common editing commands. And we'll start with the erase command. But the erase command is very, very easy to understand. Of course, all you got to do is pick something you want to erase, and it'll go away. But I'm going to use this command to explain all the different methods that come in very handy when you're being prompted to select objects. All editing commands will typically prompt you to select objects. Just like when you execute any of the drawing commands, they typically are going to prompt you to pick points, and you have numerous ways to pick points. When you edit or when you grab an editing command, there are many different ways to select objects. So what I'm going to do is go up here and grab the erase command for the very last time, because I typically just use the keyboard to grab the erase command. Typing in an E and hitting enter will get you into the erase command. But I'm going to grab it off the toolbar, or off the ribbon, I guess is a better term for this. I'll grab it, and it prompts me to select objects. And all I've got to do is go down here and pick an object. And newer versions of AutoCAD now kind of give you a little tooltip hint as to what's going on. It kind of highlights, actually lowlights, I guess would be a better term, the object that you've selected, and it kind of tells you that you're going to be erasing that with that little red X. I pick it, and then to end the erase command, I hit enter, and that object is erased. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about, even before I get into the different methods of selecting objects, is the fact that out of the box, upon an initial installation of AutoCAD, that pick box that's used to select objects is pretty tiny, and I've got to be a little more accurate with my picks than what I'd like to be. So to change that, I'm just going to type in pick box and hit enter, and it's kind of prompting me for a number. This used to be related to the number of pixels that are used to define the size of the box. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know. All I know is that 5 is kind of a nice size pick box for me. I'm going to hit enter, and you'll see that even now on my crosshairs, that square in the middle, that box, has gotten a little bit bigger. So now when I type in E and hit enter, I'm going to grab this object and hit enter. Just a little bit easier to see. If not, I don't have to be quite as on the object. I got a bigger margin of victory, if you will, to select something. And again, I hit enter, and that object is gone. Now I'm going to type in a U, which is a shortcut for the undo command. It'll undo the last command, and then I'm going to hit enter, which repeats the previous command, and that's going to repeat the undo command. And whoop, that's the pick box. Oh, my bad. Now my pick box is wrong sized, but I'm going to hit enter again to repeat the undo command one more time to bring my lines back, just because I want to keep using these objects for demo. And now I'm going to type in pick box again and set my pick box back to 5. Now notice that the pick box is there on your crosshairs, and what I want you to understand is that I can pick an object first if I want to, and then type in the E and hit enter. And AutoCAD recognizes the fact that something was already selected, and it just acts upon that selected object automatically. It doesn't bother prompting you to select objects. So in programming terms, we kind of call that noun verb, where we pick our nouns, our things, our objects, and then the verb, the command. So AutoCAD works in a noun verb format or a verb noun format. You can pick the command and then pick the objects, or pick the objects and then pick the command. All right, now one more thing. I'm going to undo that just to get it back. And the other thing I want to talk about is another shortcut. You can pick an object, and then instead of hitting the E key and having to hit the enter key, this is way picky, but this is how you become fast at AutoCAD. E and enter, that's 2 keystrokes. If I just hit the delete key, that's one key and that's gone. So you can use the delete key off of the keyboard if you select the objects ahead of time. You can't do that. You can't hit the delete key and then get prompted to select objects. So the delete key is only a noun verb format tool, where the erase command is verb noun or noun verb. All right, so now I'm going to undo that and bring that back. Now I'm going to type in an E and hit enter, and at the select objects prompt, I'm going to kind of pick in the middle of the screen where there isn't anything, and AutoCAD recognizes the fact that I missed, so it prompts me to specify an opposite corner. You can kind of think of this as, arbitrarily making your own pick box. And if you drag the other corner to the right, you get a solid outlined box that's filled in with blue. And what you're going to get when you do this are just the objects that are completely inside that blue box. Now notice that this line of the pentagon isn't highlighting while it is completely in there, but yet the bottom edge of that rectangle is highlighted. I'm going to go up here a little bit further, get some more objects. Only objects that are completely inside. Now the explanation here is that that rectangle is drawn with 4 separate line segments, whereas that pentagon was drawn with the polygon command. And the polygon command creates a polyline, a single object, in order to, that single object is not completely inside the blue box, so I don't get it. If I drag downwards, it's still going to be blue, and it's still I like to call it an enclosing window. I have to completely enclose objects. Now, I've only got one object in there. That zigzag pattern was also drawn with the polyline command, and all edges of the polyline are inside, so I get it. Okay, but all edges of that pentagon aren't inside, so I won't get it. Okay, now, and I could pick and hit enter, and then that one polyline object would disappear. If I drag to the left instead of dragging to the right, I get a green box outlined with a dashed line segment, and now this is what we call a crossing window. Anything I have even partially inside the window is going to be selected. Now, down and to the left, if I go over here, I get the line and the circle. If I go up and to the right, I'm going to get that line also, and I'm going to get the arc. And now this rectangle over here on the left is a polyline, or it was drawn with the rectangle command, creating a polyline. And I'm going to get the whole thing, even though that top edge is not in there at all. That's just one object. So picking and dragging to the left creates a crossing window. Picking and moving to the right creates an enclosing window. I can pick and hit enter, and those objects get erased. Bonus command right now is the oops command versus undo. If I type in U and hit enter, obviously the last command I performed is the erase command, so that command would be undone and I would get my objects back. I'm just going to grab the line command and draw some line segments again. And now if I were to type in a U, I would lose this line or series of line segments because that was the last command. I'd have to undo again in order to get the objects back. If I type in a command called oops, oops is like undo that's applied specifically to the erase command. Oops brings back the last set of selected objects that were erased. And that's it. They come back. Doesn't matter how many things I've done in between there. I could have worked for a half an hour. As long as I didn't erase anything else, these 3 objects, the line, the arc, and the polyline, would have been remembered by the oops command. Now, oops only works once. I couldn't do an oops again if I had another set of objects. Oops only works once per erase. All right, so that's really about the only two methods of selecting objects that you really need to worry about. They just work, that windowing is called implied windowing. I have the ability, I'll type in an E and hit enter. At the select objects prompt, I have the ability to type in a C, which stands for crossing window, and hit enter. And then it prompts me for a first corner. I don't have to miss on purpose. And now because I'm in crossing, I'm going to get that green dotted rectangle no matter which way I drag. Okay, I'm going to hit escape to get out of there. And I'm going to type in an E, and I'm going to type in a W for window. And now I'll pick the first corner. And no matter which direction I drag, it's going to be blue. Now, I'm telling you about them, but I really never use the C option or the W option. I just pick where nothing is and then drag in the appropriate direction to get the crossing window or the window, whichever one I might want to apply. The last thing I'm going to show you is a newer feature, just came out a couple of releases ago, and it's called the lasso, or lasso, however you want to pronounce that. And it involves, I'll do the erase command again, it involves picking but holding the pick button down. And now, if I start my movement to the right, you can kind of see that I get this arbitrary, oddball shape. Let's say I wanted to select everything except that arc. Okay, I'm going to kind of make sure that I just go around here. This is a way ridiculous way to avoid whoops, selecting. Now I came inside there, I couldn't really get to it. I can pick, or I can let go now, and all those objects are selected. Notice that the erase command prompts me to select more objects if I want to. I can go ahead and pick this and pick that and add those to the selection set. And I didn't go around this rectangle or that pentagon, so I didn't get it. When I hit enter, all those objects will be erased. Let's say I made that whole thing and then I go, oh no, I want this. I don't want to erase that. You can hold the shift key down, and the shift key will remove that object from the selection set. And I can hit enter. Or if I wanted to, and I've said, oh, I meant to leave this but not that, realize I can still pick and get in there. The command doesn't finish until I hit the enter key. Okay, so those are multiple methods to select objects, and all of the commands that we're going to be talking about in the next 3, 4, 5 videos, the move command, the copy command, the rotate command, is going to prompt you to select objects, and you can use any one of those techniques that we just went over.